So this is from Module 2. It's the reading participation number 3. All right, so we just have to subtract these, right? I think probably the easiest thing to do is take one step in the beginning and distribute that negative sign, but you have to remember the rule that if you have a negative times a negative, you get a positive. Okay. So now think about this as a negative 1 right here. If you take that and distribute it, you get a negative 1 times a negative 5, which would be a negative 5x cubed. Then you have a negative times a negative 2, so that would be a plus 2x cubed. Then you have a negative times a positive, so that'll be a negative 3x. And again, a negative times a positive would be a negative 2x. Right. Now we just want to combine all of our like terms, and you just got to be careful with your negatives and stuff, right? So I always work from the highest exponent down, and I look and say, okay, well, this is the only 7x to the 4th, right? So there's nothing to combine that with. But now if we look at the x cubes, we have a negative 5x cubed plus 2. So a negative 5 plus 2 is going to be a negative 3x squared. Just think about your number line when you're, because sometimes I swear the negatives and stuff, that's the easiest thing to trick people up. But you can always, when you're combining terms, think about your number line. If you start at 0 and then you go negative 5, so any negatives or subtraction go left, and any positives or pluses, go right. So if you go left 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, and then you turn around and go right 2 spots, okay, because now you got to do a plus 2. Where does that land you at? That lands you at the negative 3. Okay. Let's see. Now that's the x cubes. Now we look at the x squareds. So that's the only x squared. So nothing to combine it with. And now we look at the x. So we've got x here and x here. So that's a positive 6 and a minus 3. So that's going to be a positive 3x. So remember, when you're combining terms, you leave the variable part alone. It's just the coefficients that you add or subtract. And then I guess the last part here is your constants. So that's a plus 1 minus 2. So 1 minus 2 is going to give you a negative 1. Okay. So there is your final answer. I think this first step of distributing that negative sign and thinking about that being a negative 1 to get rid of the parentheses helps me a lot with my sign errors and stuff like that.